All right, Matt Gouget, Get Better Everyday podcast. I'm excited. I've got Markus Kaulius with me today. How the heck you doing, Markus?
I am on fire. I'm psyched to be here with you, man. We're going to have a great conversation today.
Man, we're just getting started, but I can already feel the energy, man. There's something there's an energy about you. So why don't you tell the listeners who you are, what you're up to, and then we'll dig in and the guests will learn a little bit about you. I'll learn a little bit about you. We'll have some fun.
It sounds amazing. So yeah, my name is Markus Kaulius, which you nailed, by the way. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an investor. Man, I've done some cool stuff. I'm just living this awesome thing we've got called life. I'm a health dude. I'm a fitness dude. But why my story is usually found special is because for the first 15 years of my life, I was living a really crappy life. And I felt so stuck. And I know there's so many people out there who feel stuck where they are. Doesn't matter their age, doesn't matter what they've been through. And I'm just someone who got through it and is so happy and excited to share with others how I got out. And if people can take anything away from it that helps them get out of their stuck, I'm excited to help them with that.
I love that so much. Literally the impetus of Get Better Every Day. The reason why I'm doing this as a passion project, and I'm not trying to monetize, I'm just putting out content because I too, grew up, had some struggles. Really, it took me 31 years to figure it out. I think age 31 was the turning point where I started this path on self-development. I got away from the bad habits and, the overcame addiction. But I love that. And I want to dig into it because if nothing else, if this podcast serves no other purpose but to encourage or inspire one person and realize like, oh shit, like Markus is proof that it's possible. Matt and his story is proof that it's possible for anybody, right? Like I've talked to many people that, like myself, were at the lowest lows. And, somebody that comes across you or comes across me or comes across anybody who has had any level of success just thinks that it just appeared and it dropped in their lap. And one day, there was wealth, there was health, and there was all these great things. So yeah, let's dig into, like you said, the first 15 years and the beginning, because I think that will paint some context for people that, it's possible for anybody.
Oh, I love that. Hey, with that, I'm going to dive into it, but I also want to encourage everybody. If you take nothing else out of today, please take this. You must take action on the stuff we're talking about. It's one thing for us to just feed it to you and you consume it, but we are in such a consumeristic society. You must take action if you want to see change. So don't turn this into just entertainment value, which is fine, but we would actually love to see your lives change a little bit. And even if it grows just a little bit every day, that's what both of us stand for. You're going to hear both of us talk about that a lot. It is just little improvements every day will radically change your life. So let's jump right into it. So 15 years, garbage. When I was 7 is when the divorce happened. And it wasn't just at 7. I mean, my dad was kind of already out of the picture, but now he was out of the picture completely. My mom now had to go back to work full time, go back to school full time. So I was really fending for myself. I lost both of my parents with that divorce. I grew up independently, but with very little money. Like all of my clothes were my sister's hand-me-down clothes. That sucked. I saw how stressful it was to not have money. I saw my mom stress about it, cry about it, fight about it. It was a crappy situation. So I got to learn so much about, hey, not having money is like the worst. And it helped me develop work ethic. And it turned into some great lessons. When I was 15, though, I was at my rock bottom. I'm now 6'4" at this point, 120 pounds. That's right, ladies. 120. Real sexy man.
String bean.
I believed everything that was said about me. I was picked on so bad. I got bullied so hard. Girls wouldn't look at me. And that's who I was. And so that's why I was at rock bottom, because in here, I was at rock bottom. But that was the moment that I really felt this turning point in my life where God spoke to me and said, hey, you're about to go somewhere where nobody knows who you are. You could be who you actually want to be. What if the world didn't force you to be this person? And when I got there, I changed who I was. I let the real me out. I started to be the authentic me, who's more confident, who likes to have a laugh. I like to laugh at myself. And people responded so brilliantly. Everybody accepted the new me. I'm dating girls. All the coolest dudes were hanging out with me. And it reinforced so quickly. Holy smokes, you can change everything in a second with your thoughts. And so coming back, it's exactly what the show is all about. Now I had to build on myself and become the man who I wanted to be. Now that I knew I had the power, I could make the choices, I could create the habits to become the dream man that I wanted to be.
I love that. I love that so much. You said a couple things that I want to touch on to make sure that people got this. And I love that, you're speaking from a place, and you mentioned it, you got to take action, right?
Yes.
Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. That's what all of us know. You talked about going through struggle taught you work ethic. I think that's something that's lost on people. They see their circumstances or their upbringing or disadvantages as disadvantages.
Yes.
I see that as public school kid, no money. Mom worked in the cafeteria. Dad was a truck driver. I had so much drive. When we played against schools that had fancy uniforms and, 70 guys, and we had 18 and didn't have practice gear, that gave me insane amount of work ethic to be like, you know what? Even if this guy's got the silver spoon and everything handed to him, he will not outwork me. And literally, like, here as a 43-year-old, I look back, and I won't name specific schools, but private schools that parents spent $20,000 a year in high school to send kids to, and then little old public school Sac High me, outworking them in the real world pays more dividends than any handout that any of them got, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the message for people listening. No matter what you've got, you control your work ethic, you control your word, you control, how you show up every day. And so what I want to dig into and hopefully help some listeners with is, you talked about confidence. I was going to piggyback on that, and I will here. Sometimes you have to develop that. And sometimes it's not just like, you know what, I'm going to be confident today. And so I don't like the term necessarily fake it till you make it, but sometimes you might have to. And sometimes you might have to show up nervous and scared on the inside, but show a little bit confidence on the outside. So what do you think helped you specifically kind of step into that new confident you when the first 15 years that didn't exist?
Oh, I love this question. And I just want to take a quick pause and just say, Matt, you do an exceptional job at what you do. I love it. I love when podcast hosts take a pause and go, hey, everybody, did you hear that? Let me translate that, because you know your listener better than I do. So I loved how you took that. And I'm going to come back to something else you said, but I want to answer your question. So confidence is such a fun one for me to talk about. I love working on people's confidence. It is something that is 100% your choice. And first and foremost, you have to recognize, because it is your choice, and if you haven't been the one choosing where you've set your confidence level, guess what? You've handed that choice over to the people around you. So not only your coworkers, your family, your friends, but also Netflix, social media, pharmaceutical companies, fast food companies. You've handed that choice over to them, and they're like, hey, we're actually good with you way down here.
You got to buy it if you want it from us.
That's right. That's right. So first, recognize that you do get to choose. So if you want to walk into the world like this, you're going to. If you want to walk into the world like this, you're going to. And this is one of my favorite mindset tools and perspective shifts. If you want to say, Markus, I can't be a very confident person, and my brain is about to tell you all the reasons why, you'll be able to give me all the reasons why you can't be a confident person. But if I said, just for a minute, can you give me 5 reasons why you would be a confident person? Your brain will also find those answers. You can tell me, well, I did come from nothing and I am something today. I know people who have it worse than me or better than me, and they can't even get out of bed, and I can get out of bed. Like, you can give me 5 reasons. So if you put your mind to that, your mind will find these. And now you go, maybe I should have a little bit more confidence. Maybe I can walk like this. So I love it. And if you have to use the word, the phrase, fake it till you make it, fine. But the truth is you're not actually faking it. You're going, what is the reality? Well, the reality is I can do this. Now, if I want to do this on a regular basis, maybe I need to work out more. Maybe I need to eat right more. Maybe I need to make sure my yes is a yes and my no actually means no, and be a person of integrity. And all of a sudden now I'll think I deserve to be like this, but I want to be so clear. I believe everybody deserves to walk around like this.
I agree 100%. And one of my favorite sayings of all time, Matt Ishbia, he owns United Wholesale Mortgage, just bought the Phoenix Suns last year, billionaire who's just a brilliant business mind, and also a humble, nice dude in real life as well. Knowledge drives confidence. Confidence drives success. For people that are like, I want to be successful, I'll tell you the roadmap to it.
Yep.
You're listening to a podcast about getting better every day. So you're looking for knowledge. You're trying to get better and self-develop, right? With knowledge, no matter where it's in, that's going to drive your confidence. I know people that like do stuff that they think is unimportant, or, you know, whatever it is, they're an expert at it, right?
Yeah.
And that knowledge drives their confidence, and confidence drives success. In today's world, like you'd agree with this, Marcus, like there's so many different ways to be successful. There's so many different, like the niches that I work with in my mortgage business where I'm like, wait, you're making $80,000 a month selling yoga pants? Like,
Right?
that's knowledge around consumers and marketing and branding and stuff. Like, I know nothing about that. And somebody who just started down a path gained some knowledge around a subject. That knowledge translated to confidence. They confidently went out there and sold, and now they've got success. So I think that for me, like, is a formula that anybody can follow. No matter what you want to do, whether it's get in shape and lose 40 pounds, get knowledgeable.
Yep.
Being knowledgeable, you'll have some confidence. Okay, I know I need to go gym. I need to eat at this rate, and then you'll have success in that. And so I just had to find an excuse. Knowledge drives confidence. Confidence drives success.
Brother, I couldn't agree more. And the other piece I want to add to this is now just do it consistently. So I know everybody listening is like, yeah, but there's so much misinformation out there. I know it's a freaking mess. It's wild, wild west on the internet. But there are certain principles that you just know are true. You already know. Should I be exercising 1 day a week or 4 days a week? Well, if you're really trying to get into shape, at least 4 days a week is good. Does it matter if you're doing this kind of exercise or this? I'm here telling you, no. Just get the exercise done. Too many people go, well, I just don't know, so I'm just going to sit on the couch. Well, you also know that's not going to work. And you also know that if you do it for just 1 week, you can't expect results. So do it for a month and constantly celebrate. Take a step back and go, man, I just did a week of 4 workouts. That's freaking awesome. Our world is way too much of the, oh, who cares, man? I've been doing that for 10 years. You don't deserve to celebrate. That's bullcrap. You absolutely deserve to celebrate. And if anyone's telling you differently, stop listening to them. Come listen to me. I would love to celebrate with you. You did 4 workouts? That's freaking awesome. Good for you. And don't deprive your brain and your body of that celebration. That celebration releases endorphins and dopamine that goes, ooh, that feels good. I'm going to do another 4 days and then another 4 days. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I wouldn't want to stop this. I know on the couch, I get no dopamine. I get no endorphins. I'm going to keep doing my 4 days every week.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. You mentioned consistency. That's another one to pinpoint for listeners. Getting better every day is really a never ending game. Yeah. And it's about consistent incremental gains in whatever you're trying to do. Better your relationships, better your health, grow your business. You're trying to get a little bit better every day. I saw something this morning, Marcus, that resonated with me, where somebody was being real. And this is a business owner who's has massive success, and said, if you think you're the only one who's been tired, who's been sick, who's been in a rut and lost momentum, it happens to everybody. The secret is do a little bit. You're sick. You can't have as a productive day as if you were showing up 100%. Give a little bit, because little incremental work over a long period of time is how anybody creates any amount of success. I don't want to forget to talk about the book, because you've got a book, and I think there's some nuggets we could pull out of there. Tell us about the book. Tell us about what, started your journey on writing that, putting that out, what the goal is.
Oh, I love it. By the way, everything we've talked about so far is in this book.
Great.
So the book is called Play a Bigger Game. And it's for anybody who knows or feels called to be playing a bigger game in life, knows that there's more out there for them, because that's who I was. And I was so stuck. And these are all the mindset shifts, the perspective shifts, the tools that I used to get out of my stuck and turn into something amazing. So over my career, just last year, actually, I got called to sell my biggest business. So I took one of my businesses from $0 to over 170 million worldwide. And then God said, hey, now it's time to get out. And so I sold the business. It was such an exceptional experience. Started writing my book, which was, again, such an incredible experience. And what's really cool about my book, Play a Bigger Game, it's the 7 universal principles to help you experience true fulfillment and to win at life, because that's what this is about, fulfillment. And it's not just success financially, it's all the other things that should come with a glorious life. But what's exciting about my book is not only am I giving you these tools, but then I give you challenges to force you to put them into action immediately. Because again, without the action, nothing's going to change. And if you take this action and you do these challenges, your life will change.
I love it, man. I love it. And my guess is, if you're listening to a podcast called Get Better Every Day, if this came across your newsfeed because you told the algorithm, I'm in growth mode, I'm in self-development mode, you're trying to play a bigger game. And, I feel like I'm older and wiser now at age 43. I think maybe in my 20s, I thought success was just financial. Yeah. And if I could be a great business owner, I would be happy, and, health was not as important, maybe relationships or whatever. What I've learned is the same principles that help you get better every day in one area. And while you're doing that and feeling good about the fact that, hey, I know how to incrementally get better, it translates to everything else.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And, I think that for some people, they think that when people are hoorah and inspirational about getting better, that it's just, something that's not important to them. This is important to everybody. Yeah. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts too, because I've seen in my own personal life, when I'm intentional about getting better every day as a husband, as a father, taking care of my health, I show up better in business. And by default, I'm getting better every day in how I'm showing up there.
Well, it has so many other benefits in, like you said, in every other aspect of your life. Think about it. If you're being intentional, improving just a little bit as a father, a little bit as a husband, a little bit as a businessman, a little bit in your health, you sleep so much better at night. You lay your head down at the end of the night. Not only are you maybe a bit more exhausted, which is great, but also you don't have this feeling of like, what did I even do today? I should have done more. What did I say to my wife today? You sleep better, and then you wake up with more energy. And then all the other things start falling into place. And it's not about growing 10%, 20% every day. I'm talking about 1%, just these little growth spurts. And they compound. You might not notice them after a week, but you'll start to notice after a month. And then what can it do in a year or in 10 years is so incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And as you were talking about that, I think to myself, it should be unnoticeable for most people, because that's how it feels to me. I don't even notice. I'm in this game, and I'm getting incrementally better in multiple areas of my life. And part of it is setting goals. Part of it is intentionality. Part of it is being around the right people. But I will be working so hard and telling myself, I got to get better here. I got to do this here. And someone will have to stop me and say, look at your business as compared to a year ago. And I go, oh my gosh, we've grown. Look at you at 204. You were 221 last we spoke. Oh, I am leaning out. The stuff that I'm doing is working. And so I think I'd love to hear your thoughts too on that. We live in a society that we love the before and after picture on Instagram. We love massive windfall and, this guy became a millionaire overnight. In real life, in my experience, it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
And if you're not noticing humongous gains, you're probably doing it right.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the incremental? Because I think too, I've heard it said different ways. We're not trying to go 10 or 20%, like you said, 1% a day. It might be 1/10 of 1% a day. It's
Yes.
very incremental, but you
Yes.
compound that over a decade. And another favorite saying of mine is people overestimate what they can do in a year. They underestimate what they can do in a decade.
Yeah.
12 short years ago, I was dead in my driveway. And so everything I have around me today is, a blessing. And I'm thankful to have it, but it didn't happen overnight, right? I didn't wake up on October 19th, 2011, decide might change my life. And October 20th, the sun came out and, it was all sunshine and rainbows. So, yeah, tell us your thoughts. I'd love to hear it on incremental growth. And, probably people need to grant themselves some grace
Yes.
on how quick some of this change is going to happen.
Yes. I think this is such an important conversation because you're so right that social media has skewed what we should expect out of ourselves. And if you haven't lost 50 pounds in a month, you are lazy and you should stop. Let me tell you right now, I have met people who've lost crazy amounts of weight or gained tons amount of muscle in short periods of time, not once in its entirety. And I'm not talking, I know 10 people. I've known thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people. No exaggeration. I was in the fitness industry for over 25 years. I've seen it. And I've also helped people across the planet lose over 3 million pounds. But everybody who's done it in a fast way fell apart after about 3 months because it's not sustainable. You're not putting in the work. It's the exact same story as anybody who wins the lottery. Do you know how long it takes them to lose all their money and be in a worse spot than they were before? 3 years. That's the average amount of time a lottery winner gets to keep their money because they didn't build it. They didn't understand what it takes to be a millionaire, to be this weight or that weight. So these little incremental gains, that's how you want to do it. So you need to start shutting out social media. Stop watching it so closely. Stop paying attention to it. Stop letting it guide you as like being your mentor. Oh, you haven't lost 20 pounds this month, you lazy so-and-so? No, find people who have actually done what you're trying to do. Don't even listen to the experts who are just talk, talk, talk. Show me what you've actually done. Are you living it the way I want to live it? Follow that person. Listen to that person. Surround yourself by 5 people who are doing the things you want to do, who have the habits you want to have. It will rub off on you real fast.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Somebody who's selling a course and trying to get your money by showing you how to do it the fast way is not the road you take. You take the road of somebody did it over 12 or 18 months and they did it right. I want to know what they did because they're like me and they did it. So, great advice. I've got to dig into the health side of it because I'm actually on this kick right now. When I mentioned 221 to 204, that's my journey. I've got to get under 200 by March 1st. Not only that, I've got to stay under 200 with monthly weigh-ins. That's the promise to myself.
Good.
It's funny too. I've had these conversations and I'm imperfect just like everybody else. And for 5 years, I told myself I wanted to be under 200 pounds because I feel better. I show up better in all aspects of my life, leaner than the 220 I was walking around at. This year is finally the year where it's not the goal set was any different. It was, I told myself I'm going to take the actions required to be a person who's under 200 pounds.
Attaboy.
No magic pill. And with your expertise in that, I'd love to hear, because you said 25 years in the health industry. We dissected what not to do. Follow somebody on Instagram who's got a course where you can lose 20 pounds in 14 days. What in your experience is the right way? Because I mean, I guess that's just me selfishly asking you, man.
No, I love it. Let's do this. So I'm going to give you 2 of my favorite pieces of advice. Number 1 is this. I'm going to encourage you. You need to change your identity. That has to come first. If you're just, I'm trying to lose weight, what you're actually saying is, I'm someone who doesn't ever lose weight and I always screw it up. What do you think is going to happen at the end of the day? because I'm trying. Let's see how it goes this time. But if I'm being honest, it's not going to work out for me. No, I am a healthy person. And I'm not trying to feed you a line, and I'm not asking you to feed yourself a line. But you need to start changing your identity. Say, I am a healthy person, and back it up. What are the ways that I'm a healthy person? Well, I do my exercise. And what's so important about this identity change is everything needs to be filtered through this new identity. Well, should I skip my workout today? Well, hold on. I'm a healthy person. I don't skip my workouts. Should I stop at this drive-through for some fast food? Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm a healthy person. I don't eat fast food right now. That's number one. Change your identity. Number two, baby steps. And it's exactly what this podcast is all about. Baby steps is the incremental approach. If you're going, okay, well, Marcus, if I'm being honest, I eat 10 fast food meals per week. Okay, you can't go down to zero. You can't go down to zero tomorrow. That is absolutely a recipe for failure. And I hope you're listening to that, because everybody on social media goes, you got to go to zero. You will be back on that fast food track in about 2 months at the latest. What I want you to do is take it from 10 to 8. That's not so hard, right? I'm asking you to drop 2 per week. That's really quite easy. That shouldn't change your life. And if you're like, well, I drink about 5 times per week. Okay. You're going to now drink 4 times per week. You're just dropping to 1. And you're going to do that for 2 weeks. And you're going to be so anxious to do more. Come on. I don't even feel a change. That's the frickin' point. And then after 2 weeks, we're going to shave it down a bit more. So not 8 meals anymore at fast food. Now it's 6. Again, it's just these small drops, small drops, small drops. Now, after 3 months, all of a sudden you're someone who eats 1 fast food meal. You don't drink. You have about 2 drinks per month now. See these little changes, and all of a sudden you're like, this is my lifestyle. It's not so hard. You're not constantly fighting it because it's like, I'm not used to any of this. And during that time, you've made little changes in your life to accept this new lifestyle. If you try and do it all at once, guess what happens? All of your friends are like, hey, we're at the bar. Why aren't you here? How long can you say no? It doesn't last. This is why we fall back into our old ways. But if you do the little increments, just these little baby steps, and you run it through your new identity, you watch how sustainable this new life is.
I love it. I love it. I was mentally picturing something I've heard about changing the thermostat, right? In your case, I love analogies. You go from 70 to 60, you're very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you go back to the old way and you just turn it back up to 70 because you're so uncomfortable. If you go from 70 to 69 and let it stay there for 3 or 4 days, a week, then you go to 68. By the time you get to 60, it's not that hard. But from 70 to 60, you're freezing. You're like, get me out of this, whatever I got to do. I don't care. Forget the idea. I didn't want to lose that weight that bad anyway. So great advice, man. This has been a great conversation. I've had a lot of fun. I'm going to, right after this, go run. I'm feeling inspired, man. So I made the promise to myself, and just for everyone listening, wasn't radical. 221 to 204 took over 3 months. And these last few that are coming off are going to probably take another couple weeks, but super glad that I was able to get you to talk to us on the Get Better Everyday podcast for 30 minutes. Where can people find you, Markus?
Come find me at playbiggergame.com. Okay. So it's a beautiful mastermind community, but that's where I spend my time. Come check us out. If you felt something in this podcast, like, hey, maybe this guy could be part of my 5. Maybe if I hung around this guy, I'd see more success. I'd change my identity. Then let me help with that. I'd love to be part of your 5. I'd love to encourage you regularly. You can also find me on Instagram. And if you're going to find me on Instagram, make sure you let me know that you came from this podcast. I will connect with you. I will respond. I love being that voice in people's ear that you can do better. I believe so much in humanity. I believe so much in people's potential, and we're just not exercising it enough. So I'd love to be that support, including Matt. I'd love to support you. Will you please let me know how it goes in the next couple of weeks? Let me know what that scale said, because I'd love to celebrate with you. Man, I love celebrating with people. People aren't celebrating enough. I would love to be your cheerleader. I will be so happy for you. So Focus on that. I know you're going to hit your goals, brother. And as a gift to Matt, can everybody please take just 1 minute and go give this podcast 5 stars? If
I
you
love
give
it.
this 5-star review, so many more people are going to see it. People need to hear this stuff. Matt is doing so much for us. He's putting in so much of his time and effort and love into these things. Let's get it into more people's hands together.
Thanks for all that, man. I appreciate you, man. Play a bigger game. I love it. That's the plan. That's the plan. Thanks,
Yeah, bud.
Marcus.
Thank you for having me, brother.